And welcome back to the Moe Rock Show, where we peel back the layers of the everyday to reveal the extraordinary. Today we're venturing into a world familiar to all, yet truly understood by few. The fine line, busy versus productive leadership. In our daily rush, where being busy often gets mistaken for making progress, today we pause to explore what it really means to achieve something worthwhile. It's not just about how many tasks we tick off our list, but the impact these tasks have. We'll share tales from leaders who've been caught in the whirlwind of busyness and those who found the path to true productivity. These stories aren't just about getting things done. They're about making sure what we do matters. So sit back and let's journey together into the heart of what makes a leader not just active, but effective. Welcome to the Moe Rock Show. And welcome. I'm so excited, Alicia, because we have so many incredible people that are about to join the stage. I cannot believe some of the folks that agreed to join us. I mean, it's like an all-star lineup of incredible leaders. So how excited are you, Alicia? Alicia is so excited.
I'm delighted
she's at a loss
today,
for
Mo,
words.
for today's conversation. And what?
Alicia is so excited that her internet is going haywire. So I'm going to just speak for her and say that her excitement is the reason AT&T went down last week. So let's bring in this incredible group of thought leaders. First of all, Eric, great to see you. How excited are you, Mr. Awesome?
Awesome to see you, man. I want to speak for you and Alicia and everybody else. I'm super excited. I can't wait to start this. Let's go.
I love it. And of course, we're joined by Angela Harris, David Fagan, Doria Cordova, Marshall Jones, and Carissa Johnson. And Alicia will be joining us back here in a couple of minutes here. But I'm very pumped up and excited because the premise of today's program, and by the way, the leaders here don't need long introductions. This community is very familiar with everyone you see here. Everyone here is a rock star and a leader in their own right. But here's the thing that I know about everyone on here, right? Everyone that you see on the screen is very productive. Everyone here has accomplished something very special with their lives and with their careers. And today we want to help the distinction between being busy versus being productive. So I want to start with you, Doria, because you have this, you've educated millions of people directly and indirectly, and you understand this idea better than anyone. You talk about economic engines and income generating activities. So you know the difference between being busy versus being productive. So please, Doria Cordova, we would love you to share your thoughts on this. Go ahead.
Okay, do I have all day? The first thing you have to do, aloha, everyone. So very, very quickly, I just wanted to just give you some key things about this. Number one, you cannot manage time. You can only manage activities. This is really, really important. The other thing that about being completely productive is getting very clear on what is going to be your financial independence number. And then you break it down and you get up every morning when it's time for you to go to work, whether you're going to be in front of your computer in an event, wherever you're going to be, make sure that you are going to be doing first income generating activities. And like our friend, beautiful Bernie Dorman used to say, now money now. The money that you need now for survival, for capital investment, for creating your businesses and building your economic engine. The next thing is working on leverage, and that's money tomorrow. That's building your economic engine. And there's a big difference between being a gigapreneur and somebody that is building an economic engine wrapped around your life purpose. So this is where I get to work with quite a few young people that come to me that have amazing product and services and programs, and then they get to this place where they can no longer afford to do it, because they didn't create an economic engine. They go from gig to gig to gig. The gig economy is so attractive, but it's almost like now money now. And the other thing, I have a manual that I wrote long ago, and it's called Money Making Systems. And later I can give you a link for you guys to go see that. And I have a gift in Access to Cash book. And David, thank you again. Amazing job. access-book.com. And there you will find a gift that I give to the community, which is the 20-page personal productivity system, which I learned when I was 20 years old from a master of organization. And that is how to organize your days, your computer, how to organize your quote unquote paperwork and your activities. And I could talk for hours about this, but I think I have a little bit of a time limit unless I have another minute.
We will never give you a time limit, Doria, but I appreciate that so much, and thank you for opening. And of course, you're one of my mentors, and another one of my mentors, David Fagan, is here with us. David, I know you have really mastered the ability of being productive. Have you had this along your journey? Have you struggled with the distinction between being busy versus being productive, and how did you overcome it? Please, David Fagan.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be here with everyone today, and I'm really glad we started off with Doria. She either has been around the people that wrote most of this content on these topics, or she inspired it, or she has spoke on it. So great way to start off, and proud to follow her. It's not every day that I get Doria to be my opening act. So thank you, Mo. No, look, productivity is key. It's something that, weighs us all down. We're always learning new things, everything from delegating, everything from prioritizing, everything from, analyzing our activities. What's the money-making activity, right? What is the activity that needs to happen next? What's the best order of activities, And what I've learned is it is a little bit different for all of us. You might be listening to this at home right now going, man, I'm a morning person. Man, I'm the most efficient at night. One of my greatest mentors, he would always tell me, he's like, I can get 4 hours of work done. I can get 8 hours of work done in 4 hours on a Saturday. I can get 8 hours of work done on 4 hours on Saturday. That's how some late night people feel. That's how some early morning people feel. But the point is they're learning when they can be the most productive because people aren't bothering them, or they perceive themselves to be less bothered during those times. Some of us are time blocking where we're just shutting everything off for hours at a time so we can't be bothered or distracted. And that's when we feel the most productive. But I think that's something that's worked well for me, Mo, is, knowing when my uninterrupted time is going to be, or knowing how to make myself the most uninterrupted, and not just doing the right things, but doing them in the right, order. And we've got some really cool lists. I've got a list of what I call force multipliers, and I'll just tease everyone with this because we won't have enough time. But I've got 20 force multipliers that if you do this, everything else just gets easier. And that's the challenge I would give to everybody sitting there at home. Ask yourself, what's the one thing I could do right now that would make everything else in my job, everything else in my business get easier? What's one thing I could do right now as a force multiplier that money would come easier, that business would come easier, right? And we really want to very purposefully load up our schedule with these force multipliers, with these high productivity activities. And, that's one of the things that I've used.
Thank you for that, David Fagan. And Angela Harris, we're just going to keep the line going straight. Angela Harris, great to see you here. And I'm very curious, how do you stay productive as opposed to just staying busy? Angela, please. And Angela, we're going to ask you to unmute yourself, please, because we cannot hear you. If you could please unmute yourself, we'd appreciate that. Let's go ahead. Take two, go.
Okay, called myself being effective. Called myself being effective by muting myself, and then forgot to unmute. But I think for me, productivity, it's very personal. I like to find my lane and master that lane and then grow into the others, but also building a team so that I don't get lost in the minutia, if that makes sense. So for instance, if I'm working on a project and I'm not necessarily a money person, so I've got an accountant that's on board with that team, that we're talking, we're showing things, but they're kind of taking the lead in that. And like David, I'm not a morning person. Lord, I don't want to do a meeting before 10 o'clock, and I want to be done about 3. So I can complete in those 5 hours a whole day's worth of work. That's why when I do contract work, I don't do it based upon hours, because what I can do in a shorter period of time might take somebody longer, and then I am cutting myself short. So it's identifying what I want to do, believing in it, being committed to it, and then also being able to say that by whatever means necessary, because I believe in that. And I think all of those things are important. And the other way for me to be productive, Mo, is really I need to love what I'm doing. If I'm taking on something that I don't, it's strenuous, and not everybody gets that luxury. But it's like I tell people who are looking for work, take what you can now so that you can make sure that you pay your bills. But then while you're waiting on or searching for, working toward that what you want. And I think that's where the productivity comes in, is where you ask yourself at the end of the day, I'm all Angela has. I may have a team, but at the end of the day, it's a hit or miss by what I do, what I say, and what I decide. And so that's how I remain productive, by being goal oriented. What's my end game?
Fantastic.
I get involved with nothing that I haven't or decided what's my end game. Back to you, Mo.
Thank you for that, Angela. Eric and Marshall, the two of you don't mind if we go to Carissa first. It is Women's Month. We want to honor the beautiful Queen Carissa Johnson. Please, Carissa, the distinction between productivity and busyness. Floor is yours.
Well, I think, something that I've been playing with for the last couple of years is completely eradicating the word busy from my vocabulary and identifying with my life being very full. I have a very full life, and I find a lot of enjoyment in that. That's brought me a lot of peace, knowing that I have a lot of adventure. I have a lot of things that I'm doing in the world to serve. And one of the things that has helped me direct my energy, to manage my energy or time or the activities, is being aware of two main key components: my intention, my why, and my attention. Where's my energy going? And I think we live in a day and age right now where people are constantly distracted with their cell phones and dopamine hits, that it becomes really difficult to be productive, because we're constantly picking up our phone or having, racing thoughts. And so being able to manage my energy and my attention has been really supportive for me in getting into a state of flow, so that I can actually be productive. I can move the needle forward, and measuring things out. Like, David was talking about, what's urgent and what's important, and kind of going through those quadrants, and not just having a list of all the things that you need to do, but actually organizing them before you execute on them. And so, as an entrepreneur, there's a big distinction between working in your business and doing those nitty-gritty details that are important until you find teams, and then working on your business, which actually requires a lot of space to hold a vision, to think about the long term and not just the short-term satisfaction. So, my perspective is that busyness can often be a trauma response for people who have a real inability to actually be still and listen to what's necessary. And that's probably a whole nother conversation. But I think, the productivity is not just based in what we're doing, but how we're doing it.
That's incredible. I want everyone to brace themselves, because you're about to feel a thunderstorm. And you're going to think that a thunderstorm has arrived in your city, but it's just the powerful voice of Marshall Davis Jones. Marshall Davis Jones, we want to give you the floor so you can discuss this distinction. Please make sure you're unmuted here. Floor is yours, Marshall Davis.
Man, honestly, when you said the thunderstorm, I thought he's about to bring Eric on. I was like, yep, that's about to happen right there, Mr. Awesome. Anyway, shout out to Clubhouse. That's how we all met, Mo, Eric, everybody. Productivity versus being busy. So it depends. It's like a couple of things. Like depending on the task, I'll give an example. So when writing the book, so I wrote a book. I'm an author, and I'm supposed to say that now, they say. But in writing the book, there was all of these ideas that were the busyness of all of the possibilities of what it could be. And then there had to be like a very strategic, almost conveyor belt method to get things done. So I remember having multiple instances open where it was like, here's a task, and in this was the chapters that I wanted to write. And then I would take each chapter, transfer to another note, write the chapter, cross it out. But then there were tiers of transfer of the ones that were done, the ones that weren't done, and et cetera, et cetera. So there's always this sort of very thin slice compartmentalizing that has to happen so that you can get things produced. The other thing about attention, which I really liked, that was just brought up, was first thing in the morning, I don't look at anything. I don't care about your emails. I don't care. That's not the first thing I'm doing when I wake up. Because what happens, they say when you first wake up in the morning, your neurons start firing, and will start to kind of repeat whatever you do like top of the day for whatever reason. And so and I realized, I was like, well, wait a minute. I'm not going to drive myself through the ground by popping my eyes open and looking at IG, LinkedIn, Facebook, email. Like, it's very easy to do that. You know, I get up, I take my own personal time. And then once I'm approaching the tasks for the day, my mind isn't overwhelmed with like the dopamine espresso shot of being jolted into the conveyor belt. So on both ends, there is, you know, if you're going to have a conveyor belt, create that conveyor belt and be the conveyor belt you want to be on versus the conveyor belt that, you know, the attention economy kind of thrives on you being on. So those two things for me help to balance those out.
Thank you for that, Marshall. And I'm excited now because Mr. Awesome is about to take the floor and share some of his awesome wisdom. So Eric, please, floor is yours.
Oh, thank you so much, Mo. Appreciate it. What an honor to be here with all of you. So I love this. I love this topic. This is amazing. I know I want to like hug Doria right now. It's such a great topic. You know, a few quick things. First off, I decided years ago that I was going to work on something called double. Because of this time management thing, like Doria just said, Dame Doria, oh my gosh, so beautiful. And she says, you know, that we can't manage time, we can manage ourselves and our activity levels. So what I decided to do is double, which literally means that I'm going to double my production from last year to this year, double my income from last year to this year, double my whatever you're doubling, but double the time off that I do it in. So literally giving yourself that break, because I love it when like Angela says, look, I don't wake up till what, 10 o'clock? Is that what you said? Ever since COVID, I have this new thing, you know, since COVID happened.
Said I don't like to be bothered till 10.
Yeah, the bother. Yeah. Okay. So I have this new thing where ever since the pandemic, I decided, I was like, I'm going to wake up at the crack of 10. That's what I decided to do. So my double is just, look, I want to be as productive as I can possibly be in the time parameters that I give myself, those time allotments. You may have seen me get up and get something from my desk here. It's actually I think I bought this for like $30 on Amazon. This thing's amazing. It's just a little thing you put on your refrigerator or wherever you can put it. It's got a magnet on the back here, but it actually has a timer, right? Do you guys see that? And you can change the timer really quickly. Like there's 60 minutes, you can put 30 seconds if you want, but I leave it on a 30-minute timer. 33 is my favorite number. And I click it and nobody talks to me. I don't have any distractions. I learned this from my mentor, Brian Tracy, to be laser focused, because as Mo, you just mentioned a little bit ago, there's so many distractions, so many things from your cell phones to all the different things that are going on in life, right? So that's really the first thing. The second thing I want to share with you guys is take a trip of time. Okay. This is my technique. I love this technique. It's a habitude technique that I use, habits and attitude. If you take a trip of time, what this means is actually book it. Okay, like Alicia, book your trip. Okay, go to whatever, Southwest Airlines or whatever airlines is easy for you guys. Book a trip every month without a doubt, just a random trip. Go to Houston next week. I don't know why. Just pick a place. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be Cancun or, you know, a really nice beachy place. It could be, Madison. You know, I'm going to go grab a dinner up there just for a couple days. So what happens is you take this trip of time, and here's what happens, Mo. If you do this, the stress relief, you're like, I've got two. You don't take any luggage, by the way. You just take your laptop and your carry-on. All right. And you do this once a month for just like one night or 2 nights, and that's it. You get away from the kids, away from everything and the minutia of different things that are going on. All right. So then what happens on the flight? Well, you've got let's say a 2-3 hour flight. Well, you write part of your book. I'm now a 26-time #1 best-selling author because I keep on writing all these chapters in these different books and so forth, and so forth and so on. It comes together. So you literally get, and I learned that from Brian Tracy years ago as well. Also, what happens is you meet the right people. You don't feel stressed anymore. It's awesome because you don't have the time parameters that you have to be at that appointment, have to be on this Zoom and that Zoom. So it's a really great idea to take the trip of time. The other thing I want to share with you guys is have the right mindset every morning. So I actually write, how many of y'all write thank you letters or thank you cards, right? We all write thank you cards and they're handwritten and so forth, and you send them out to people. But a lot of us don't write our own thank you cards to ourselves. So I literally write a thank you card to myself, and it creates this mindset throughout the day. So I write the card and it literally says, thank you, right? And if you open it up, it's, I put a lot of hearts on last night's card. And then I write this in nighttime before I head to sleep, and I put it somewhere, right? And so I'm walking over to downstairs and I find it and it says, Eric, you are amazing. You are awesome. Keep changing the world, including your life as well. You rock. And then it says, love, Eric. Okay, how many of y'all write your own thank you? I mean, it takes a second. Just do it. It gets you in the mindset of awesome. So
you know what I love, Eric, and I'm so excited that I got a chance to reconnect with you here because I finally found someone that loves themselves as much as I do. Doesn't it feel nice, Eric? Isn't that incredible? I mean, I feel like you must be my soul brother here. So, Alicia, I want to make sure that your internet is working better now, my co-host, and I'd love for you to chime in. Let's do a quick live test. Alicia, please. The distinction between busyness and productivity.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me now? Is it more clear?
Yeah.
Yes.
First of all, I think this is an amazing topic, and it is so timely because I think it's easy to spin our wheels doing things that may not necessarily be, I like to say the word effective. Like if I'm using my time, is it effective? Did I hit the outcome I was looking to hit? Or did I spend a lot of time and maybe I was spending a lot of time focused, but I didn't actually hit the outcome? And so I definitely look at it is this an effective activity? Because I can be spending a lot of time, but is it fruitful time? And so I love this conversation and I love this discussion because, time, once we lose it, we cannot get it back. And so what are some of the things that we can do around that? Eric, I love that you write thank you cards and cards to yourselves. I actually do that too. They're to Leash from Alicia. And so I think it's just a great way for a mindset. But for me, something I like to do is get grounded in the morning. And David hit on this point earlier that everyone has a different method, whether it's the time of day that you feel like you're effective, like Angela mentioned, whether or not you have boundaries. I don't take meetings or I don't engage with individuals before 10 a.m. But I found that having some kind of a mindfulness practice in the morning helps me get grounded and helps me get laser focused on what it is that I have to do. Yes, I want to have my systems, but also how is my mind focused and grounded in what it is that I'm trying to get done? And so for me, it looks like meditating, practicing my spiritual practice, and then journaling, because I found that sometimes the days where I'm not productive or not effective is because I've had all these other thoughts circling in my mind that are distracting me from what it is I'm actually trying to focus on. And if I'm able to get those thoughts out by journaling, then they're no longer taking space in my mind, and I can actually lock in and tune into what it is I'm trying to get done. So those are some of the ways that I look at it.
Thank you for that, Alicia.
And so I love the topic that Eric really opened.
Beautiful. So,
no, I was
Alicia,
say,
thank
I
you
love
for that.
the topic that
we're
Eric
bumping
brought
heads
to the
again.
table, which is,
It happens, folks. It happens, folks. Sometimes we just bump heads here on the Tribune, but
it is totally me.
Because Alicia, you mentioned David's name, and because today is election day in many parts of the country, we're going to do this.
Oh my God!
We're going to do this debate style. We're going to do it debate style. So, David, your name was mentioned, sir. Let's shift the conversation to practices on how to start the day. Because, one of the worst habits I have in my life that I've been trying to get rid of is waking up and staring at a phone or staring at some sort of a screen. I don't think that's a healthy way to wake up. So, David, I'm curious, do you have your morning rituals ways that you ease into the day, and then everyone else will chime in on this subject matter. David, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to say something that's sort of unpopular to a lot of entrepreneurs out there, but one of the most powerful ways for us to be truly effective is to schedule more things and really stick to the schedule. As entrepreneurs, we like to do things when we feel like it. I feel creative. I feel like doing calls. I feel. What are all the things that we need to get done in the day? And what is the proactive approach? So in the morning, for me, maybe not first thing in the morning, but as I'm starting my day, I want to make sure I'm doing the things that are going to proactively get something done and solve a problem before it could ever exist. So if I'm not doing certain things and that causes someone to call me because it didn't get done, now I'm reacting to it. If I didn't do things in the right order and now somebody's waiting on me, so now they're emailing me because they needed to get done, now I'm reacting to it. So, what are the things that I need to do every day to be proactive? What are the things that I need to schedule, and how disciplined can I be to live in that schedule? A lot of times eating right, a lot of times exercising, a lot of times writing those emails, a lot of times there's just so many things that we don't like to do, but we need to do. So I recommend scheduling those things, putting them on the schedule. And if it's on the schedule, you do it. You do it whether you like it or not. That's discipline, right? That's the focus we need. I'm also a big project prune guy, right? So here's 3 things for you. How much time will it take? How much money will it make you? And how much do you love doing it? When I can get all 3 of those things, right? The least amount of time for the thing that'll make me the most, that I love just as much, that's what I want to do as well. So if I can proactively prioritize projects that have been pruned, I'm having some fun here with the P's, then I know that I have a chance at being really profitable. I'm okay with setting automated reminders. Some of people feel like that's a little too much and it stresses them out. Like it creates a certain anxiety that a bell's going to go off or something's going to ding. But I'm a big fan of doing the reminders. I don't like it when I get a little behind schedule. I don't like always having a schedule. But in what world am I most productive? I'm most productive when I've project pruned. I'm most productive when I'm being proactive. I'm most productive when I've set a schedule and I'm sticking to that schedule. And I'll give you one last thing that I think is really important. Collapse your time frames. Make your deadlines faster. Forget, hey, I'm going to do this in 12 months. I'm going to do this in 30 days. Hey, I'm going to do this by the end of the week. I'm going to do this by the end of the day. Pick some really big, difficult, task and see if you can knock it out right in the beginning. I'm going to write this proposal. I'm going to do this phone call. I'm going to write a chapter for this book. I'm going to get a potential sponsor on the phone for my show. Pick something, big and bold and get into it really fast and get out of, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 1 year from now. I'm all about power plays, right? What's something you can do in the next 3 to 6 weeks that's going to make you money or get you results? What's something you could do in the next 3 to 6 hours that could make you money or get you results? What's something you could do in the next 3 to 6 minutes, okay, that could make you money or get results? Just collapse those time frames. Could I do it even faster? Could I do it even better? Could I do it now? Oh my goodness, could I do this right now and just have it done? I think that is the key to getting a fast start on a day. And momentum, positive forward momentum. You do a few of these things, what happens? You get a few wins. You get a few wins, and it gets easier to get a few more wins, and then a few more wins. And it's just positive forward momentum. It's like you just feel unstoppable. And right now, if you're feeling sluggish and you've had a few losses, what do you got to do? Turn it around. So I'll end with where we started. Sometimes my wins is I just got to get out of bed in the morning. I know it sounds silly, but there's days where it's like, okay, I'm in the shower. That's a win. Okay, I'm dressed. Okay, I'm sitting down at the laptop. Okay, I got 3 or 4 wins. Well, what were your 3 or 4 wins, David? I got out of bed, I showered, I got dressed in front of my laptop. Do whatever you can to get some wins, to get that positive forward momentum. Thanks, Mo.
Absolutely incredible, folks. I mean, these are the gems of wisdom that people pay thousands of dollars to experience in seminars that we're providing for you free as a public service. So I want to thank all of these thought leaders for sharing their golden nuggets here. I want to shift to Carissa, because Carissa, I know that you are very passionate about mindfulness, and you're one of the world's top experts in that subject matter. And when it comes to how to start your day, you're somebody that I imagine you've spent a lot of days and nights thinking about how to start your day. You strike me as somebody that has contemplated, ruminated, and sat with and meditated on and tapped into what it means to start the day right. So I would love to give you the floor to hear your thoughts on this. Carissa Johnson, please.
I did all those things. I tapped into it. I contemplated, thought about it. That's all I spend my time doing in my morning, is just thinking about what I'm supposed to be doing. For me, I like to treat my body in the same way that an athlete would in preparing for my day. So every day I do the same practices to support my energy, my mind. When I get into a ritual, it feels like I'm thinking less in the morning about what to do because I already know what I'm doing. And so I get up in the morning, and I don't pick up my phone for the first hour and the last hour of the day. That's a non-negotiable for me. I also really realize that when I'm on my phone, I start getting caught up in what I should be doing, what other people are doing, and it really throws off my day. So that's number one. And then I go into a couple different practices, and this is what I found has really worked for me, although different seasons call for different things. Right now, I'm doing a lot more embodiment practices, and like you said, like meditation and mindfulness. So I have like a rule of 10. So I'll do 10 minutes of yoga, 10 minutes of breath work, and 10 minutes of meditation followed by a cold shower. So for me, I found that 10 minutes of yoga is enough to just move the energy in my body in the morning, stretch, and really open up my field and really help me ground myself in a calm state, really focusing on the body. And then breath really is supportive in regulating the nervous system and getting you to focus less on the thoughts and coming back into the body. And then meditation after that is really supportive, where I'm visualizing what I want to do for the day, how I want to show up, and really grounding myself in that. And then, of course, the cold shower. I'm addicted to cold therapy. I think it really helps me navigate any challenges that I face throughout the day, because if I can regulate myself in a cold shower, I can stay cool in other areas of my life while I'm having to be confronted by a lot of decisions. So those are a couple of the practices that I start with in the day. And another thing that I'll share has been really supportive for me is people often start their week on Monday. I'm really prepping my week on Sunday. So I'm putting 2 or 3 hours dedicated to going through and cleaning out my emails on Sunday. I'm looking over what I have for that week. I'm also scheduling things that are not just productive, but are soul enriching. So I'm scheduling yoga. I'm scheduling a dance class. I'm scheduling dinner with a friend, and I'm building my business around my life, not my life around my business. And that has been really supportive. And my last point is also similar to what David said, which is that I start the day doing the hardest thing. So I like to swallow the frog. So if I have something that I've been avoiding, which can often, on Friday, I'm like, oh, I'll just do it Monday. I start the day with that and I get that out of the way. So I feel like I have a win. And I personally found that by having just a couple key things I want to get done that day has really been able to support me to stay in my flow. So I'm not going from podcasting to client work to writing my book to doing all these things. I'm having days that are focused on a couple of different things instead of context switching, so I can actually be in a state of focus for that day. So those are the couple of the practices that I found that have been really supportive for me. And yeah, I think it kind of covers.
So Carissa, do you ever find yourself with that old habit of going to your phone in the mornings?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's been something that I confront every single morning. It's a choice that I have to make. And sometimes I'll pick it up and then I'll have to okay, I realize I'm doing it and put it back down. So there's definitely a pattern interrupt and a reprogramming that happens. And it's a choice that I have to make every single morning. And some mornings I'm not perfect and But most of the time I really am staying anchored into my why. Why am I doing this? Why is this important? And I have an aversion to it now because I have so many days that I've started my day looking at my phone, and then how unregulated, how I feel, how comparative I feel to other people, or just lacking motivation and focus. So when you kind of get to the point where you're at your rock bottom, where you're like, why am I continuing to do this? That you start to move from a more empowered state and realizing that it's just not supportive for you.
And I did not see his fingers move, but somehow David Fagan also commented in the virtual auditorium, whoa, Carissa, with the meditation, breath work, and a cold shower, that is an impressive way to begin the day. And so I want to go back to Doria Cordova. Doria, I'm very curious, and I know the folks watching are curious. How does Doria Cordova wake up in the morning? What are your morning rituals to make sure that you have a productive day and not just a busy day? Please, Doria Cordova.
I have at least a couple of hours to myself. I absolutely, for me, being just very quiet for the first hour, and I meditate, as you know, every morning and every evening. I meditated before coming in here, so I was ready to go, at least 25 minutes. And then what I do is I say my fast just about every day. So I start off with water, lemon water, and that cleanses all your organs with warm water, right? And then I have my greens. I've been having my greens since 1997. It's one of the most powerful things. It has all these beautiful greens and vegetables and fruits. And then I have a thing called Sunrider Kali tea. I've been having that since 1986. It's a tea. That's how I got disconnected from caffeine. And then, so between that, probably about 90 minutes, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours later, I have my first meal. And that really gets me started. But the biggest thing for me is also, I want to also speak about how we do the days, because for me, like Mondays, like don't write to your favorite clients and people on Mondays. Think about from Tuesday through Thursday, because everyone writes to you on Monday. So you have to deal with all the people that write to you on Monday. It's like, but serious business, the people that I work very closely with, is from Tuesday through Thursday. And then Fridays, of course, we have Fridays with Doria. We do all these other events. So one of the ways I prepare myself for whatever it is that day that I'm going to do. And I am like David. I schedule a lot of things, including Thursdays and Sundays are for my 98-year-old mama. And then in the mornings, I get to do things, but not when I'm with her, as much as I can. And so it's self-trust. It's self-trust. It's like really trusting yourself that you're going to take care of yourself. That's what Eric was speaking about, just sending yourself little love notes. And that reminded me, Eric, one of the things that I do, that I love to put money, cash everywhere. I have cash everywhere. It doesn't have to be a lot. You can just put, a bunch of bills in the drawers, everywhere. And it reminds me of income generating activities. How do I create more of those? I've been doing those since the 70s. I learned that from Sandra Ray, to just have money everywhere. And I hope that I can run out and show you guys my new cards. I got all these cards that are like $100 bills that I'm taking on this cruise that I'm going on. And it's so much fun. I have them everywhere. And so that kind of anchors you and reminds you unconscious that when you are doing business, so you're either in business means that you're going to create a profit. Even if you have a foundation or a nonprofit, that you are going to have to bring in donations. So your awareness of money and finances, because all the money that I make comes in wires, and I love getting my office manager, her directions are, she texts me when I receive large amounts of money, a certain amount, over a certain amount, not smaller amounts. And it's just so much fun to get that text. But my unconscious, and most of us, all of us, unless you're less than 20 years old, and even then, because we learn it from our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and around us, cash still activates you. And I feel like people are not seeing enough cash. So that's where we get a little bit complacent. So, and have a deal with yourself. When are you going to, when is the day? How many weeks? When is it that you're going to go sit on Maui and stare at the beach or move there part of the time? You have to create goals, and that makes it easier for your disciplines in the mornings.
Incredible. And David Fagan says that there's about $700,000 in small bills hidden throughout your home, which reminds me, Doria, you haven't invited me over for lunch in quite some time. What's going on? I thought we were friends. It's been a minute since you invited me over your home.
Now, let's make it clear for anybody that may want to invade my home. They're like $1 bills. It doesn't matter what it is.
David, can you please type her home address too? Thank you, sir.
In a safe deposit box at the bank, okay?
That's true.
Mo, Easter's coming up, so let's.
That is true. That is true, Eric. And
I have big guns, so don't be coming over.
Absolutely. Angela Harris, author, entrepreneur, artist. I'm curious, how do you start your day to make sure that your day is productive and not just busy? Angela Harris, please.
Thank you so much. And it's interesting listening to everybody, because I think one of the consistent trends that I'm seeing is that we all have our own way. There isn't necessarily one right way. You develop something that works for you. And my morning really starts off meditatively, but biblically. I spend my time in the morning in my Bible. I do Bible study. I breathe. I have this amazing tea. I watched 100 Live to 100. And so I sent for this tea from Greece, and I have the honey from Greece, and I have an amazing cup of coffee, and I decompress. I allow that to clear my heart, to clear my mind, and to position me. And one of the things that I do is I try to link with purpose for me and what I believe purpose is and what purpose has been identified. And then from there, I seek the counsel on that. Carissa mentioned she gets ready for Monday on Sunday. For me, I believe in self-care to the degree that I can. I shut weekend off. And so I end my Friday with a to-do list, right, for Monday. And then that's what I'll reflect on there. But I give myself that time for self-care. We're talking about walking. We're talking about eating correctly. We're talking about decompressing. And that's been really effective for me, because some of the things I do are in Cleveland. That's one of the projects that I have, and they're 3 hours ahead. So so I have to sometimes prepare for that. And listen to this. Every night before I go to bed, my one phone, I don't take it into the bedroom with me. I leave that phone out there so that I am not being pulled out of my sleep, that I am not being maneuvered in some different way, that I am saying that whatever happens, that there's a time for that. And so that's how I manage the time. And I think having your own personal thing. I was laughing at Eric said, I'll pass the cold shower. Me too, pass the cold shower. And I love what Eric also said, that, it's just a different word for it, right? Eric made mention that he writes thank you letters to him. Alicia mentioned that she does the same thing. And it's really just a form of affirmations, right? We write our life affirmations that we stand on and that we can thrive on, and that can push us forward, that can push us into another way. And then I do have a social media following. And so I try to make sure before I start my business day that I've done what people really look for me to do. And that's to send out those positive affirmations, to send out that blessing, to send out that good morning, to send out that quote from someone that's not only inspiring me, but it's also inspiring the others who are actually looking at that. So Bible study, a great cup of tea, having my own personal affirmations, which I get through the scriptures that I'm studying, and then actually connecting with those on my social media that were just kind of laughing for that. Actually, if I don't post for a day or two, I get direct messages. Hey, what's going on? And that's how I learned that that to make a difference is also an important part of how I get my day started. And once that's done, then I can focus. So that's how I work on my daily meditation, preparation, and going for it.
Thank you for that, Angela. Marshall Davis Jones, floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to repeat what I said already. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care about nobody's emails. Top of the morning. Like, if you expect that email to be responded to before for 10 o'clock PST, like, also, you know, so, but that's, and also the weekend starts on Friday. Like, you know, the Calendly does not work. It is inactive. Fridays, you go down there, it's like, oh, he's just, man, he must be booked on Fridays. Yeah, he's booked not being booked on Fridays. But yeah, it's starting the day. Yeah, just that clarity of mind, just because it's so easy. You start checking everything. You're like, oh, what's in there? It's like little treasure hunting. What's in this one? What's in that app? What's in that app? Yeah, nah. So I know myself, and, you know, being on from formally being on that cycle of doing that, and like knowing what it felt like. And the other thing for is making the bed, coming out. The bed, an unmade bed, just makes your room look crazy. You ever notice that you can have your room completely clean, but if your bed is not made, your room just looks dirty. You could actually keep your room crazy, but your bed being made, you're like, I can live with this a little longer. So I don't know what that is, but something about making a bed first thing when you get out, just tidying up where you rested. I think it just sets a little momentum for like, I'm gonna organize this is a chapter that's closed. You know, I don't know what the science is behind it. I just imagine that. But yeah, nobody's text messages or phone calls or WhatsApps before a certain hour, you know. And keeping the bed made top of the morning. That's for me.
Powerful. I think there was a book written by a Navy SEAL, something called, I think, Make Your Bed in the Morning or something along those lines. So it's interesting. You have that same kind of mentality. Mr. Awesome, share some of that awesome wisdom. Floor is yours.
Yeah, fantastic. I love Marshall. Great to see you, man. And by the way, I was just thinking about this. Can you imagine like all of this? I was just thinking, can you imagine if this is like a dating site? Like we're all like, this is what I do. And I'm not going to answer that. No phone calls before 10. And I'm not going to, can you imagine all the rules that we all have? It's awesome. So, but they're rules of success, which I love. So I'll share three things that I was actually taking some notes to myself here going, you know what? I want to share these three things that I do. Every morning I do this. First thing is I wake up and I thank God. I say out loud, I say, good morning, God. And like what a lot of other people say is good God, it's morning, right? So I thank my source, my awesomeness, you know, and by the way, you know, people sometimes joke, they're like, how do you call yourself Mr. Awesome? And well, a friend of ours, Les Brown, called it to me. So it kind of stuck with me. But really what it is if I feel awesome and I'm sharing that with the world, then all of us around us surround ourselves with awesomeness. And it's like going with a team, right? And not doing it alone. You know, I learned this early on when I got started like 26 years ago with my mentor. So the second thing that I do after I say good morning, God, I actually go over and I'm about to brush my teeth and I have a conversation, what I call the 60-second morning mirror. And I have a conversation with myself every morning, and I see myself eyeball to eyeball in the mirror, right? The mirror of success. So here I'm brushing my teeth and, you know, toothpaste going everywhere. And I have this conversation and I say to myself, I'm the best. I am focused. I will succeed. I believe in myself. I set high expectations. I'm going to surround myself with amazing people. I'm going to call people. I do the what the heck calls, by the way. Every day I do 3 what the heck calls. And this is just calling someone to get the cheerleading support system back and forth, you know, just call Marshall, call David, call Doria, you know, Dame Doria. And what's really cool is when they pick up the phone, because they usually pick up right away. When you are the type of person who they feel great to surround themselves with, then it's a symbiotic relationship and it uplifts everyone's boat, which is amazing. So pick 3 people that you love to just inspire, and they're going to inspire you. It's called borrowed benefit through masterminds. So the morning, and by the way, I've got a creed that I say to myself, and here's part of it. I have these, just like Doria has, you know, cash everywhere. I have these all over my homes, and it's just my Habitude Warrior creed that has about 8 or 10 different sayings that I say to myself, and I have it sitting right in front of me at, you know, in different places of my home. So then after you have this conversation with yourself in the morning, then high five the mirror Okay. Have you guys ever high-fived a mirror before? You never fail. Okay. So set yourself up for success already. Right?
Mhm.
So those are the quick things I do. Other thing really quick is I do breath work. I do 3 things that I do. Breath work, which I use the Breathe 33 method that I created myself. And it's part of the box method as well. So breathing in for 3 seconds, holding for 3, letting it out for 3, and you do that 3 times. And it's amazing what happens where if you do that, like if you do that right now, everyone just breathe in for 3 seconds and let it out. You just feel better, even just with the 1 cycle there. It feels great. And you bring in amazing energy and you let out the negative, let out the things that aren't going to serve you. And the last thing I want to mention real quick here is become a loser. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Be a big loser. I lost 3 things in my life that I created this. I got rid of things, okay? The 3 things that I got rid of are coffee. So I don't really drink coffee. I love espresso, but I tend to stay away from the caffeine, and I do like what Dame Doria does, with tea and so forth. I do green iced tea. So get rid of the coffee. I got rid of alcohol. That was a big step for me just to, oh my gosh, I put down 3 martinis and opened up 3 more companies. So I got rid of coffee, alcohol, and I got rid of negativity in my life. So you might be thinking about to yourself, the audience watching this, well, you're like, well, 2 out of 3 is not bad. So pick 3 things that you want to go ahead and create a loser list. Get rid of. What is it? Is it the cable TV? Is it, the thought patterns that go into your mind and you stick with it or something? What is it that you can get rid of? I know, David, Eric on caffeine. Can you imagine? So get rid of that and just be you. And I got to say one more thing. I appreciate you saying that, David, because now, since I get rid of that, the caffeine and the coffee, I realize that, look, I'm my own coffee for myself and I'm other people's espresso, right? I can uplift them if I am clear and focused. So back to you guys. Back to you, Joe. Mo.
Thank you so much. And it's hard to believe we only have a few minutes left in this hour-long program. So we're going to go and have everyone share their closing statements and closing thoughts. 1 minute or less, please. Let's start with you, Angela Harris. Thank you again for being here with us, Angela. Angela, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you for having me. And I just want to leave with everyone. I think even Roosevelt, who I know has been listening, is like, dream big, right? There's nothing impossible for you if you really want it. It just boils down to, at the end of the day, what are you willing to do to see that dream become a reality, because it is yours. I laugh at the thought process that the vision, the purpose that was given to you, it was done for you. It wasn't done on a conference call. So you're not looking for somebody else to get along with your dream or your process, but that you own that yourself. So own your time. Don't just be busy. Marginalize other things that do not take you to the next level. Identify. I compartmentalize people in my life. Some people are genuinely just ministry. When their call comes in, I understand that. If it is a business associate, I understand that. If it's a family member, I understand that. So I don't get caught up in have an expectation other than who you have identified yourself to be. So get up, start your day, find what gets you going, and then own it. And don't allow anybody to take that away from you, but own it because it is yours and no one gets to define that for you.
Incredible. Closing statements, Marshall Davis Jones.
Go outside and take a walk. So the calves are considered the second valve of the heart. They don't move if you sit on your butt all day. So go out and walk. It's good for your heart. I know we're talking about getting productive and being busy. Walking sparks creativity. It's literally linked to, getting the mind going. It's part of our development is becoming aware of moving forward. So give your body that opportunity to move forward through the world. Take a walk. It's good for your heart. And, get back to when you get back to it. I'm out.
Thank you so much, Marshall Davis Jones. My friend, it's very good to see you again. We have a lot of catching up to do. Carissa Johnson, closing statements. Floor is yours.
Yeah, I would say know thyself, because everyone here is coming with a different background, a different divine assignment, a different needs and values. And one of the greatest one of the greatest skill sets you can have is the ability to have introspection and contemplation and to know thyself. And so when you know yourself, you can understand what your goals are. You can redefine what success means to you, and then you can build upon practices and rituals and morning routines and things that support your overall intentions and desires. And so I'll keep it really simple. I think all of this stems down to what personal development is built upon. It's really understanding who you are and who you came to be, and what you do in the world only gets amplified by who you become. So that's what I would say. Thanks.
Thank you, Carissa. Closing statements. Doria Cordova, please.
When you find yourself being really frantic, stop, literally stop. And like Eric said, take 3 deep breaths and catch yourself and restart. And secondly, very important, moment to moment self-mastery. Just know that you are so special, so beautiful. You are just glorious. And your deservability level, just bring it up a notch every single day. Because if anybody deserves to have time, joy, peace, to have all the wealth, all the cash, your dreams come true. Just have a beautiful life is you. You're such beautiful people. And just keep telling yourself that until it really goes into your unconscious and you get it. And that's moment to moment to moment, and treating yourself beautifully. And with all of these different tips and disciplines that you have been given, you can do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Doria. Closing statements, Mr. David Fagan, please.
Okay. Really focus on the good at the finish line, especially while enduring the parts, those bad parts in the process. Really think about, man, it's going to feel good when I get this done. Man, what will it be like? What will the conversation be? What will the celebration be? Thinking about when that book is done, that website's done, that product is launched, that relationship is solidified, that deal is done. Really focus on the prize at the finish line. What really motivates you. For some people, it's their why. And last and most importantly, find somebody and truly empower them to hold you accountable. Make some of your deadlines public. Get someone that can hold you accountable. Have a little stick, have a little carrot. What are you going to give up and do if you don't make it? What are you going to get if you do make it? Celebrate those wins, and hold yourself accountable as well, but get that third person.
Powerful. Thank you for that, David. Closing statements. Eric, please.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay. So I have 3 quick closing statements. One is decide to be awesome. Literally make the decision to be awesome. And what does awesome mean to you? Right? It could be, you have to define it for yourself. For me, it's helping people. I have a saying, NDSO, no drama, serve others. I'm sick of drama. That was years and years ago when I dealt with that. Now it's a whole nother life out there to help people. And as Dame Doria says, we're all beautiful people, and the second thing is surround yourself with beautiful people. Find the uplifting individuals around the world. You can find them. You can probably find people that are not as uplifting a little quicker, but that's okay. Help them, but find the people who are going to uplift you so you can uplift them and bring value to them. Then you'll start noticing that leadership truly is bringing value to them so that they see the value and they return it back to you. And now the world is working in a really good symbiotic way. So that's the second thing. The other thing I want to say is find people that you can teach or mentor something that you are very versed in. I shy away from saying that you're an expert in, because I think all of us of the panel would say we're not experts. None of us are experts. You know why we're so great at what we do in our certain respects is because we realize we're not experts, and there's always room for growth. There's always room to move to the next level. So find people that you can mentor, And it's amazing what happens when you actually can teach people, because you're teaching yourself, and you might be teaching yourself a different view, a different viewpoint. So back to you, Mo.
That's incredible, Eric. And my closing statements here before we go to Alicia is I challenge everyone watching to maintain the same mindset when things are going bad as you do when things are going good, and operate from a place of abundance mindset. You see, we as entrepreneurs, we have times that are good, we have times that are bad. It's up and down, ebb and flow. But for us to operate from a place of abundance, regardless of the current atmosphere, is when we'll be at our peak potential, right? When we start operating from a place of scarcity, it leaks. You can feel it. The market can feel it. When you do create things out of desperation and put it out there, the energy behind it, it's not going to, first of all, I've never seen anybody build anything incredible or great from a place of desperation. So abundance mindset, and knowing there's enough to eat for everyone out there. Abundance mindset, I think, is the most important thing for entrepreneurs to have. If you start operating from scarcity, it's a dangerous place, because then your energy is going to affect your behavior, which is going to affect your outcome. And I see Doria unmuted, or did she mute? Doria, did you unmute? Did you want to chime in? Or no?
Oh, no. I was just going to say, remember sufficiency. You can't go straight from scarcity to abundance.
That's why I encourage everybody to enroll for the Money in You program. Doria, when is the next Money in You seminar?
Oh, we have the best people coming. It's May 1 evening through the 4th.
Okay,
Mr. Awesome, you better be there.
Okay.
I have to tell you, I'm not kidding you. We are reaching the most beautiful groups of people, these young, gorgeous Black entrepreneurs that are all uplifting their communities in the East Coast. I'm connected to the East Coast now, you guys, and they're coming to Money in You, and they just want to serve, and they're so successful. I keep telling them all about you guys, and just saying, when do you meet all my West Coast, my peeps? And so come, May 1 to 4th.
I'd love it. I want to be there. Doria, I'll be there. And Doria, you're going to be on my Speaker Hearts program as well. Mo, you and I are going to talk about that as well. We're locking down.
Beautiful. Absolutely, Eric. And Alicia, I would love to just have you share some closing words. I know your internet has been problematic tonight, but Alicia, if you'd like to chime in 1 minute or less before we wrap up, please.
Yes, for sure. And I hope that you all can hear me now. I am on another router, so I hope this is good. But I think the last thing I'd like to share is that, as you've heard this evening, everyone has their own system. So really take the time to figure out what works for you. It's great to hear what works for others, but it's such a personal journey. And I would say, think about giving yourself grace in the process to figuring out what is effective for you. And that may change depending on what it is that you have going on. But for me, there were so many key points that were shared today that the journey to figure out what it means to be productive and effective isn't linear. It's spiritual, it's emotional, it is physical, it has to do with your family, it has to do with what you have going on in work, and it can change over time. So I love something that Mo has shared in the past, but there's IQ, intelligence quotient, there's EQ, emotional quotient, and then AQ, adaptability quotient. And I think that also applies to when you're trying to figure out what system is effective for yourself. How are you adaptable? How are you giving yourself that grace? How are you pouring into yourself? Like Eric was speaking about with his thank you notes to self and affirmations, like Angela was sharing. But I think it's such a personal journey, and it's amazing to learn from everyone, but really taking the time to pour into self and figure out what works for me and what works for me today. Because even within the week, you may need to shift, and that's okay. But having that awareness can help you figure out what to do next. So hope you all enjoyed today's conversation. I'd love to share it back with you.
Thank you for that, Alicia. Same time, same place next week. And Alicia, does my heart glad that you learned that from me. Thank God there's at least one person that listens to me out there. At least there's one. Thank you, Alicia. And we will see you all next week. Lots of love.
Thank you, everyone.
Beautiful,
Yes, see you all next week, everyone.
Aloha.